All right, so we've got this really interesting collection of search terms here.
Yeah.
And it really gives us a snapshot of what people are thinking about,
Right.
when it comes to severe weather. And
Absolutely.
it's really clear that there's a lot of concern and a need for information specifically about tornadoes.
Yeah.
So we're seeing terms ranging from very broad, like just weather and storms,
Right.
but then also very specific locations like St. Louis tornado,
Uh-huh.
Poplar Bluff tornado, and then you also see that sense of urgency with tornado warning near me,
Yeah.
and then even the aftermath with tornado damage.
Of course, yeah.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into all of this and try to understand how people are searching for and using information during these potentially really dangerous events.
I think what really jumps out at you initially is the prominence of tornadoes.
Yeah.
Even twisters, amidst these broader searches for storms or severe weather.
Yeah.
And it really highlights that tornadoes have a particular place in people's minds. When it comes to severe weather, they really seem to command a very specific kind of attention and concern.
Right. It's not just any storm, right?
Exactly. And I think that comes from the fact that tornadoes are often perceived as, very unpredictable, and it can be incredibly destructive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can really see that link in searches like weather storms, tornadoes today.
Right.
There's not just people casually checking the forecast. There's this real sense that they're trying to understand if those storm systems could actually produce tornadoes.
Yeah, they're trying to connect those dots, aren't they?
Exactly. They're recognizing that tornadoes aren't just isolated events.
Right.
They're part of this larger severe weather picture.
Yeah.
And people want to know what that picture looks like.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that you see so many searches that are really location-specific.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it's Louis Tornado, Missouri, Poplar Bluff tornado, and it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
So it really highlights just how localized the concern is during these events.
Right. And I think that intense focus on specific places, especially when you see it repeated, like with those Missouri locations, really suggests that recent or ongoing events are playing a huge role.
Oh, for sure.
And it underlines that people in those communities need information that's directly relevant to them.
Yeah, and it's not just any information. They're specifically looking for updates from sources they trust.
Yeah.
You see a lot of searches for local news outlets like KSDK Weather, KFES 12, W Beer Weather.
Yeah.
People are turning to the broadcasters they know.
Exactly. And it's really significant that these established media outlets are still such key sources of information.
Yeah.
Because it shows that people trust them to deliver accurate and timely information, especially during those critical moments when a severe weather event is happening.
Right, and then you also see that sense of urgency come through even more with searches like Tornado Watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Tornado warning, and especially tornado warning near me.
Yeah.
This is about immediate safety and knowing what to do right now.
It really highlights how crucial it is to have effective warning systems that are very precise geographically, because people aren't just curious. They need actionable information that can actually help them protect themselves.
Yeah, and what I find really interesting is that we also see people taking that proactive approach with searches for Tornado Tracker and Tornado Radar, even specifically Tornado Tracker Live.
Right.
So people want to be able to follow the situation themselves.
Absolutely. And I think that speaks to two things. First, the fact that weather technology has become so much more accessible.
Yeah.
And second, that people really want to be able to access the same data that's informing those warnings.
Yeah. They want to be in the know.
Exactly.
And it's also really telling when you see those searches that come after an event has already happened.
Yeah.
Things like tornadoes last night. Was there a tornado last night?
Right.
And then, of course, the concern for damage with tornado damage and storm damage today.
Yeah. It's like that natural human need to make sense of what just happened. To understand how widespread the impact was and how bad the damage might be.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to see how those very specific local searches get mixed in with broader terms like storms in the South and even New York weather. So you have that immediate focus, but also this wider awareness of entire weather systems moving across the country.
And I think that variety in search terms really shows us the different stages of how people seek information.
Oh, yeah.
You have some people who are right in the path of the storm and they need those minute-by-minute updates.
Right.
And then you have others who are maybe just generally aware of the situation or maybe checking on family and friends at a different location.
Right. So it's all connected in a way.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing to see how these search terms paint such a vivid picture of how we all try to grasp and understand these powerful forces of nature.
Absolutely.
And it really emphasizes that need for local,
yes,
trustworthy, and timely information.
Absolutely vital.
And I think what this all means for you listening is that, when it comes to navigating severe weather events,
right,
having access to that reliable and accessible information
yeah,
that is localized to your specific area
right,
is absolutely critical, not just for awareness, but for public safety.
absolutely. It can literally save lives.
It really makes you wonder, though,
What's that?
with this reliance on these traditional sources and, everyone actively monitoring the situation,
Yeah.
how might the spread of misinformation
Right.
on those platforms that aren't quite as vetted,
Yeah, those less reliable sources.
yeah, how might that actually complicate how we respond to these really dangerous events?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
It is something to think about.
For sure. Something to consider as we move forward.
Absolutely. And I think on that note, we're going to wrap things up.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, take care.